When we look at the dates, we have some very, very early dates. Firstly, we got these dates, series of dates from Koldihawa and Tokwa. Early dates of rice from this area, which pushed back the antiquity of food production to about 7th millennium BP. And recent dates from many of the mid Ganga Valley sites, particularly Lahuradeva, have pushed back the antiquity even further. We are finding, as I said before, the transition from the earlier Mesolithic context. We see that there is an overlapping of traditions in technology. And this was first seen, the archaeological evidence was first found in this site called Chopanimando, where we see this transition from the Mesolithic to the beginnings of food production. With this, now we turn to the neighboring region of Mid Ganga Valley, where a huge amount of work has been done. Now, here, which are the most important sites? Again, there are hundreds of sites. A few have been taken up or were taken up for excavation. Among these, I would like to mention Jhunsi and Hetapatti in the Allahabad district. Then Lahura Deva, very, very important site in Sant Kabir Nagar district. Then Imildi Kurd and Sohgaura in Gorakhpur district. All of these are falling in Uttar Pradesh. And in Bihar, we are finding a lot of these sites. We have Chirand, Senuvar, Taradi and Chechar. In the near vicinity, remains of micro-charcoal have been found, from which one can talk of human activities in this area going back to 10,000 years before present. At the site itself, carbonized rice grains have been found, from which we can definitely say that this goes back to 9th millennium BP. In combining all the dates from other sites also like Jhusi, etc., one can definitely say that in mid Ganga Valley, the beginnings of agriculture is going back to 8th millennium BC. And again, we are finding a type of food production which is now getting concentrated on some of these main varieties. Rice, millets. Interestingly, we are finding wheat and barley, but again, we do not know. The implications are we do not know where the wild varieties of these crops are. And we are finding a double cropping system in mid Ganga Valley. So you have a winter cropping system as well as a summer cropping system. Very interesting structures of houses have been found from Jhusi and Hetapatti. And we see these oval or circular house plans from the sites. These were basically wattle and daub structures, and that can be made out from these burnt clay lumps which have been found on the site, which are bearing these reed impressions. In Chirand, some pit dwellings, evidence of some pit dwellings have been found. Now, what about the material culture? Material culture, again, we are finding handmade pottery as well as both slow and fast field pottery. So you're having fine redware, ordinary redware, lustrous redware, burnished ware, rusticated ware, and various other types, as well as microliths, as well as food processing implements like quern, muller, and of course pounders, etc. About the domestication of animals, we do find evidence of cattle, sheep, goat, and of course hunting was an activity which was still carried out. Apart from these, we are finding some artifacts like terracotta objects as well as a lot of beads. A lot of beads have come from sites of Jhusi, Hetapatti and Lahura Deva. Beads made of steatite, faience, then chalcedony, agate, etc. Mid Ganga Valley is closely related to the Neolithic cultures that I just mentioned before in the Vindhyan region. There were close connections. And here, interestingly, in the Ganga Valley, we have also found, in the western part, we have also found a lot of Mesolithic sites. And in the Mesolithic sites, very interestingly, we can see some traces of transition. So this overlapping of tradition between two cultures, that is quite dominant, quite predominant and significant in these two regions.